Hi, I'm Marion Dunn. I'm a Kendal resident, and this is Frank Neuwirth, who is a good friend of mine and who it's going to be a pleasure to interview, I hope.
It's good to meet you.
Good to meet you. I fell in love with Frank the minute I moved into Kendal. I really did. He didn't pay any attention to me, but I was in love with him. And he was introduced as the Kendal curmudgeon, the naysayer to everything. Why did you get that reputation?
Because I always say what I think.
And what do you often think?
I often think that things are worse than they possibly can be.
Did you always feel that way?
No, I don't think so. But given the present world situation, that's the way I feel.
But the other wonderful thing about you is you still have a sense of humor. You can make us laugh about it.
Well, there has to be something good about me.
There has to be something good about you. You went into the service at a very young age. How old were you?
I was 18. I turned 19 in the service.
Did you get drafted?
I had volunteered for the Air Force. I wanted to be a pilot or do something flying. You know, dramatic stuff.
Right.
And unfortunately, when I was about 16, I had a serious disease called encephalitis, which is an inflammation of the tissue of the brain. And when I got to the flight surgeon, I got scrubbed. They weren't worried about me, that's the point. They were worried about the plane, and you know, planes were hard to come by. Flyers were easy.
Okay.
So I didn't get into the Air Force program, and then I said, the hell, I'll wait until I get drafted. And I did. I came in after the first waves. I didn't have to worry about getting shot down immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah.
But one of the things that you said, which I was very impressed by, was that you were not nervous during the war. Why was that?
They told us we were battle ready as a unit. And you know, that made me a tough guy. And so who was scared of those Germans? You know, what could they do that I couldn't knock them down for? Most of us felt fairly certain that we were strong enough and tough enough to take on the Germans. We didn't know what we were talking about, but...
How did you end up an accountant?
I had this buddy in the service, and he was a CPA. I probably was a couple of years older than I. And we agreed that if I became an accountant, he and I would go into practice together, and we would live our rest of our lives as we did in the Army, having a great deal of fun and support from each other. So I went back to, instead of going back and studying physics, which was my original major, I started on accounting. And that's the way I got into it.
And did you ever become partners with him?
Never. We broke up after about 6 months. He liked doing things that I didn't like doing. And we just weren't right for each other any longer. Luck has a great deal to do with what happens to you. And one of my early jobs was with a firm that had entertainment clients. So I was looking through the newspaper and I saw this advertisement for an accountant with theatrical experience. So I answered the ad, and that's how I got into it. And so for 50 years, I had a lot of fun going to opening night parties and seeing the opening nights of the shows.
Now, one of the things that I've noticed, knowing you and knowing your family a little bit, is how devoted your sons are to you. They show up more than at least once a week, and they're interesting guys. What inspires their devotion?
You know, if you're lucky in life, you have a perfect father. And they were lucky.
Is that it?
So too, and I'm very grateful for it. And when Marilyn died, having those two guys back me up, got me through her death.
Yeah, that's marvelous.
So I proved to be very lucky by having two terrific guys.
Yeah, that's wonderful. To what do you attribute your long life?
I think that having the right mother sets you up for it. And somehow in my ignorance and youth, I had the right mother. And, you know, during the war, when guys got badly wounded or were dying, who did they call for? They didn't pray to God. They called for Mama. Now, if Mama is the most important person in the world, and she's there for you whenever there's a problem, whenever you're feeling weak. If Mama was around, she would make you feel better. And so I think the lucky thing for me was I had a Mama who always supported me. No matter what I did, I was a lousy athlete, she thought I was great. You know, I couldn't learn foreign languages. She thought I was a brilliant student. How can you go wrong with a mama like that?
How has Kendal influenced your longevity, if any?
I've had a good time here. I liked it. Look, I knew when we moved in this was the right place for us, both Marilyn and me. And during the time that she was ill, I spent an inordinate amount of time with her. I ate dinner with her, I was with her every evening, and I was with her on the final night of her life. That was perfection in terms of the needs that she had and that I had. And I think Kendal is a wonderful place, and I'm very happy that I moved here at the beginning, and it'll be 20 years and next year. And I've been happy here. Well, you know, I gotta be a curmudgeon. I haven't been happy with all my fellow residents, but that's a different story. Things are good here. It says anybody who comes here and then says, I don't want to live here, is making a big mistake, really. And I couldn't recommend it more highly. The wonderful thing here is that on Saturdays we usually have opera, and I love it. I never was interested in opera, and my wife got me interested. If you listen carefully to the music, you hear some absolutely magnificent things.
What do you say to the serving staff when you go through? You have a routine with them.
I say, how you doing?
And you've trained them, and they say, how you doing back?
No, they say, I'm doing.
I'm doing. Yes, that's right.
And so how you doing?
I'm doing.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Do I get to keep this microphone? You don't get anything for this.
You were also an Eagle Scout.
I am an Eagle Scout. Once an Eagle Scout, always an Eagle Scout.